Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Hello my little doodles, it's Amanda. Welcome back to my channel. Today, of course, I'm doing my January 2021 bullet journal setup. This is the first monthly setup for 2021, which is kind of crazy. But if you are interested in more of like the overall 2021 beginning pages bullet journal setup, I'll be sure to link the video that I just recently posted over here, somewhere up here, if you guys want to check that out. But as I mentioned in that 2021 setup video, this is going to be my 5th year bullet journaling, which is kind of insane, the amount of bullet journal setups that I've done. At this point, I don't even know how many bullet journal videos there are on my channel, but I'll be sure to link that playlist down below for all of your inspiration purposes. But I really want my overarching theme this year to have some subtle references to that first year where I started bullet journaling on my channel, because it was kind of like the beginning of a big journey for me. So I thought it'd be nice to have some subtle hints towards that. We'll see what we can integrate into this month's setup. But without further ado, come plan with me, grab your bullet journals, your notebooks, washi tapes, all the things. And if you're just planning on watching and relaxing, grab your cup of tea and a snack and let's go. So for my January 2021 theme, I decided to go with a minimal paper crane theme. And the main reason why I decided to do this is the meaning behind it. I have a very vivid memory from elementary school when my teacher read us the book Sadako and the Thousand Paper Cranes. If you're unfamiliar with the story or this book, I really recommend you look into it and read the original story. I'll be sure to leave a link down below. It's based on a true story, but I'll give you guys a short summary of the book version. Also, if you're sensitive to hearing about terminal illnesses, please skip ahead a little bit. But the summary is that there was a young girl in Japan who's diagnosed with leukemia from the radiation caused by the Hiroshima atomic bombing in World War II. And during all the time that she spent in the hospital, she decides to fold 1,000 paper cranes because of a Japanese legend saying that a wish would be granted by the gods if that was done. Her wish was to live through the disease and to fulfill her dream of being on the running team. And unfortunately, she does pass away before finishing the 1,000 cranes, but her friends and family finished the rest of the cranes for her after her passing. So nowadays, Senbazuru, which means 1,000 origami cranes in Japanese. Yes, I did look up the pronunciation, but please don't make fun of me for it. But they're given as a special gift to friends and family who are ill as a wish for their recovery. And they're typically held together on strings to hang up. I'll insert some pictures of them. It's really beautiful, especially with all of the colors, and a lot of times they hang from the ceiling. And I also looked more into the legend, and the reason why they do this is because the crane is seen as a mystical creature and is said to live 1,000 years, which is why 1,000 paper cranes are made. According to the legend, the cranes must be finished within a year in order for a wish to be granted or for good luck to be granted. And now they're often seen as a universal symbol of peace, often at war memorials. Anyway, that was a lot of information, but I did just want to give a nice background for it. I remember learning about this in 4th grade and it just really stuck with me. Our class even decided to try to make 1,000 paper cranes by the end of the year. We got pretty close to 1,000, but we actually didn't end up finishing because our teachers had to ban folding paper cranes. Everyone was just folding them during class and getting really distracted. I remember folding a lot of tiny ones with sticky notes or any piece of paper that I could find. So because of that, I can probably fold a paper crane with my eyes closed. But I will do a mini paper crane tutorial at the end of this in case anyone actually wants to learn how to fold their own paper crane. That was a really long tangent, but hopefully it was interesting for you guys. I think it gives a lot more context as to why I chose this theme for the start of 2021. I think we could all use some good luck or a wish this year, and since it's also a symbol of peace and healing, I feel like it's the right energy to bring into the new year. Also, who knows, maybe between the amount of paper crane doodles that I do and any of you guys do while recreating this theme, maybe we'll collectively draw 1,000 cranes by the end of the year. And by the way, in honor of this theme, I will be donating to the LLSC, which is dedicated to funding research and finding cures for leukemia and Hodgkin's disease. I'll leave a link down below in case any of you guys want to join me in donating. I haven't even really talked about the cover page, but I did keep it really simple because I wanted it to feel kind of peaceful and for the focus to be on the actual meaning behind it. I drew paper cranes at different angles and in different sizes hanging on strings from the top of the page, inspired by a lot of the installations and memorials, as well as a lot of illustrations that I've seen for the cover of the book, the Sadako book. And I used my accent color really minimally, just a simple circle in the background, which is also coincidentally a very important shape in Japanese culture as well. I didn't intend this, but with the color that I chose, it ended up looking like the sun or an egg yolk, which is cool as well. But you guys can change out the accent color if you want, or even color in the cranes. It's a really customizable theme because origami papers come in all colors and patterns. Anyway, on the page next to it, I did a simple quote page that has a quote from the book. It says, "I will write peace on your wings and you will fly all over the world." And I just thought it was such a beautiful quote, so I drew a couple of paper cranes in a crescent shape and also kept the lettering pretty simple. Moving on to my monthly calendar spread. So to keep with this minimal theme that I had going on, I only drew the horizontal lines in the calendar. I think the grid spacing for this was 5 by 5 dot spaces for each day. And I had a simple highlight up top for the days of the week, did the numbers in colored circles. For the header, I just doodled a bunch of paper cranes as if they were flying across the top. I did connect them with that golden yellow colored marker in sort of a wavy line so that it looks like string, and I added those same beads that I did on the cover page as well, and I added some at the bottom so it kind of looks like the string is going around the page, if that makes sense. And then on the side of my calendar spread, I added 2 sections, one for my monthly focus and one for my monthly priority tasks, which is just, kind of tasks that I want to do throughout the month. By the way, I know these origami cranes look a little bit difficult to doodle, but it helps to actually have a paper crane in front of you so that you can rotate it at every angle and see the construction of it. But let me know if you guys want to see a doodle tutorial or something. Maybe I'll post one on Instagram or TikTok. Next up, we have my monthly tracker spreads, and this month I did a chart layout for both my habit tracker and my mood tracker. I know usually I do like individual mini calendars for my habit trackers, but to keep in line with this simple theme that I had going on, I wanted the layouts to be really easy and quick, especially because I know a lot of you guys are starting bullet journaling for the first time at the beginning of this year, so hopefully they're kind of like an easy, quick layout that you guys can recreate depending on what suits your needs. So for the habit tracker, I wrote the numbers of the month horizontally and the habits that I want to track vertically, and then I just outlined the box. I wanted to fill it in for a pop of color so that it matched the solid circle on my cover page. And when I'm filling it in, I just add a black dot, or I'll check off whatever habit that I end up doing for that month. For the mood tracker, I did a similar horizontal line graph layout. I actually staggered the 2 big sections so that the title of each are like one's on the left side and one's on the right side, and that way I could also add some hanging paper cranes above the title of each, which I think added a nice subtle touch, and I think it turned out really cute. I know I say this in every single video, but I get a lot of questions about what supplies and pens and everything that I use when I bullet journal, so as usual, everything will be linked down below in the description box. I actually didn't use that many supplies for this month. It was pretty much only the one fine liner, the one colored marker, and my notebook. Oh, and a pencil, of course, but yeah, minimal theme, minimal spreads, and also minimal supplies. So I see a lot of comments from people saying that they don't have a lot of stationery, and don't worry, you don't need a lot of stationery in order to bullet journal. You just need your notebook and a pen and you're good to go. The next spread is my playlist spread. So for this, I decided to draw a border around the whole page, and it actually has an arched top. I'm also really impressed with myself because I didn't trace that curved line. I did it freehand and it turned out pretty well. So, you know, I can do more than just draw straight lines without a ruler, guys. It's a flex. I thought it would look cool, but also it kind of matched all the round edges that I've been doing for this whole setup, and I think it looks really nice because the paper crane doodles are so angular, and everything that I do with the accent color is a bit rounder and softer for the shapes, so it's kind of like a nice contrast. Since it ended up looking a little bit like an arched window, I drew some paper cranes hanging from the top of the window and of course added the title with some cursive lettering. And then I just printed out the album covers and wrote the songs below them. As usual, I love sharing my favorite songs that I've been listening to, so I'll be sure to leave my monthly Spotify playlist down below in case you guys want to listen to any of my favorite songs. I highly recommend, check it out. But I won't talk about all of them too much here. I do want to give a couple of special shout outs. So I have of course been loving the new album by my all-time favorite artist, Yerin Beck, and also ENHYPEN's new album, as well as a new artist that I recently discovered called Your Beagle. So again, check out that playlist for the full list. You guys have seen me make playlist spreads like this a lot if you've seen literally any of my previous monthly spreads, but it's kind of like a nice time capsule so that I can see what type of music I was listening to at that specific time. Moving on to the next spread, since it's the beginning of the year, I wanted to map out my entire vision for Shop Amanda H. Lee in 2021, so I made a blank space for me to jot down any ideas, think of anything that I want to release this year, what I want to do, and what I want the whole brand to be like. So I have a lot of ideas and things that I want to do this coming year, especially things that I didn't have a chance to do in 2020 due to the situation. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can make some of those things happen. So look forward to all of that, guys. Finally, we have the first weekly spread of 2021, and again, in keeping with the minimal layout and theme, I did a similar style to the monthly calendar where I only drew the horizontal lines. Doing this gives you a lot of negative space, it kind of just makes your spread look really open, which I think matched the vibe of this theme. Of course, I have Monday through Sunday across the top of the layout with just a simple highlight with that golden yellow color. And then I have two horizontal lines to create a section for my weekly events up top. The section below it is for any priority tasks or important tasks for that day. And then the rest of that space down below is for any other to-do list tasks. So above it, I added, of course, paper cranes, and I made them hang from the top of the page, and I drew one for each day and wrote the number of the date on the wings of each crane. This type of spread layout is perfect for anyone who wants a quick layout, or maybe for someone who doesn't have a lot of time for planning, because it's essentially just 3 horizontal lines. You can also add more lines depending on how much you want to break down your day. Personally, I don't like to break down my day by time slot, but if you did want to do that, this would be a great layout for that because of all of the vertical space below each day. Of course, I add doodles and lettering for an extra bit of spice, but you also don't need to do that if you want to keep it really minimal. Alright, before I show you guys the final flip through of my January 2021 bullet journal setup, I wanted to talk a little bit about Squarespace, who kindly sponsored today's video. If you guys didn't know, my personal website, amandarachlee.com, was built on Squarespace. I've been using Squarespace for years and I love it. It just makes everything so much easier, especially with their all-in-one platform. You can literally just drag and drop elements onto your website. So if you're new to website design, you don't need to worry. It's all kind of done for you, and they have a lot of beautiful templates as well that you can use. My personal favorite feature of Squarespace is how easy they make it to showcase photos, because photos really make or break a website, especially if you're using it as an online portfolio or using it to sell your artwork or your goods. You can actually easily import photos from your Instagram or your Flickr directly onto your website, and they also have automatic image scaling so that the photos will always look right no matter where they are on the page. And of course, if you ever do need any help with your website, they offer 24/7 customer support. So if you guys want to try out Squarespace for yourself, or maybe you've been meaning to start a new website for the new year, make sure you click the link in my description box below. You can head to squarespace.com/AmandaRachLee for a free trial and for 10% off your first purchase of a domain or a website. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. They really do make it possible for me to post weekly videos and to keep this channel going. So thank you to them, and on to the flip through. Okay, so here's the final flip through of my January 2021 bullet journal setup. I really love how this turned out. It's so simple and elegant, which I wanted to do for the new year. And of course, I love the meaning behind all of it. I really wish for peace and good luck for all of you in 2021. Anyway, as promised, here's a little bonus tutorial showing you guys how to fold a paper crane. So of course, you're gonna start with a square piece of paper and fold that diagonally by connecting the two corners, and then fold that triangle once again, and then place the open part of the triangle at the bottom, and you should be able to open up that flap kind of like a pocket, and when you connect the two corners and flatten it out, it should make kind of like a square. And you're gonna do this on both sides so that you end up with a diamond shape. And keep the open part of this diamond facing downwards, and you're going to bring those two bottom edges up towards the middle crease line and flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. That top little triangle section, you're going to fold it along the horizontal line and open that up. And then the bottom flap should open right up, and with all those creases, you should be able to flatten it and create this longer diamond shape. This is probably the hardest part, but you'll get the hang of it, I promise. And do that on both sides as well. Once you have that flattened out, bring the bottom edges of that diamond back to that middle line again and do the same on both sides, as well as flipping it over, repeating again. You should be able to see these two kind of crease lines at the top. I chose the wrong origami paper for this. It's patterned, so you can't tell. But then once you have this, you can flip the crane so that the sides are now the front, and then you can bring those two little pointy tips upwards and then flip it back to its original state. And then this is where you can flatten out those two ends there. That's going to be the head and the tail. For one side, fold that tip downwards so that you have a head, and this is the most satisfying part. Pull the wings apart and the middle body should puff up like this, and there you go. You have a paper crane. Now you only have 999 left to go. You guys got this. Alright guys, you know the drill by now. While I'm doing the outro, here are some of your recreations from last month's bullet journal setup, which was the December 2020 theme. Look at them. They're so beautiful and lovely. If you do recreate any of my bullet journal setups, whether it be this month or if you just want to show me what your bullet journal looks like, make sure you tag me on Instagram at AmandaRachLee. You can also use our hashtag Little Doodles. And I've mentioned this before, but I actually do my weekly spread setups live on Twitch. So if you want to see how I set up my weekly spreads for the rest of the month, then make sure you tune in there. It's a pretty fun time. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great 2021. And if I don't talk to you before the new year, Happy New Year. Keep doodling, guys. Bye.